watching Morning at NTV.
Good morning, you're watching Morning at NTV. It's a Friday, the third day into a new month, and Zimbabwe finally has an answer. Not really much of a surprise, but it did come at a cost, maybe about 6 dead, but of course that number could rise as, of course, communication still comes in. Looking at Twitter, Mnangagwa, yes, now president of Zimbabwe, saying thank you, and a lot of comments there replying him saying that it came at a cost, it came at a price, but you got about 2.46 million votes against 2.15 million for the opposition leader Nelson Chamisa. So that's the pretty much big story in Africa. An election done, but of course at a cost. And there's question on, whether after Robert Mugabe, there can actually be a calm and peaceful Zimbabwe where the economy can change for the better, the people can be peaceful. And they were saying that it's very hard for Africa to have a peaceful transition after maybe what could look like a dictatorship. So we'll see if Zimbabwe is a country to benchmark on. Otherwise, good morning. You're with me, Flavia Tumsime.
And me, Malaki Vilodera. There's still tension in Zimbabwe.
Yes.
Yeah, especially after around six people lost their lives in that particular fracas. And actually this happened after, Nelson Chamisa just came out to say, I think I might be the winner.
It's not the first time an opposition leader has said he might think he's winner.
Why do leaders do that? Why do leaders do that? Instead of just being patient and waiting for the Electoral Commission to come out and give the, authentic results. Why do leaders do that? Because I think it's after that, supporters, of course, of, MDC, they came out to, start also questioning, the authenticity and this transparency of ZEC, the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission. So I think leaders just need to also, put that into perspective. Know that the people who support you are not that mature. So if you, yes, because imagine just if the electorate there was actually mature, we wouldn't see such people being killed. We wouldn't see the police, being, deployed in Zimbabwe and many other regions in that particular country. So leaders just need to be cautious. Just know your electorate. The electorate are not that mature. You need to be cautious of what the utterances you make, because they have a consequence as well.
But it's not the first time an opposition leader, even not even at presidential level, has come out in Africa and said, I think I am the winner.
Yes. It happens
I think
everywhere.
people just need to, you don't need to shed your blood for these people. I prefer you, the opposition leader who says you think you won, to go on the street and throw the stone first. You go on the street and punch first and let the people follow you, although I know they're going to try and get that thing of a leader leads from, the back going forward. But it's quite sad. It's quite sad. But I think the case of Zimbabwe, there were issues, because I saw a video clip where I think a journalist was announcing, for example, I'm really paraphrasing this one, saying that this polling station has 116 people voted. Registered to vote, sorry. And then interviewed somebody, or I think a leader or head of a polling station, who said that about 200 and something people have voted. And people were like, what? If 116 are registered, how is it that 290 have voted? But it was live on TV, and people were like, okay, maybe based on those little discrepancies here and there.
Did he have facts?
Because I think the journalist was reading off, I think what was given to them, and was saying that, okay, this particular police station, from what the Electoral Commission has told us, these are the number of registered voters.
Was this taking place in that particular, polling
yes,
station?
Right at the polling station.
Where was the returning officer when all this was happening?
I think that's the one they were asking. So he said, let me ask, someone from the polling station, a leader, to come and talk to us. And it's live. Oh, God. And then gives him the microphone, and so they're talking, and he's asking him, so, how is the election going? How are the people showing up? And then says, it's going well, but 200 and something people have voted. And people were doing the math and were saying,
it's not adding up.
It's not adding up. But, because he could say, I meant, but it was already too late. But it was quite sad, because people took to the streets and they were fighting, and they were saying that they're not happy. Actually, people on Twitter, when they were answering now President-elect Emmerson Mnangagwa, they said, it's unfair that you're coming out to say sorry after people are dead.
Yes.
And they're saying that there could have been other ways for you to calm people who are on the streets throwing stones and being violent. You could have, because, for example, here in Uganda, we've seen tear gas, we've seen rubber bullets, we've seen sticks, people being slapped and all of that. live bullets is another case.
It is.
You know, and they're saying that he could have, if he really needed to bring the military in or the police, they could have done some. Look at that. Someone is being bitten and they're unarmed on the ground. You understand? And actually, there were even journalists who were being chased, and it's just sad. There was actually a picture. I'm not even sure if we can get that. There was a woman who was, I think she had a stall or something, and she was leaving the town because people were protesting. And she was just walking, and you could see this person actually point a gun at the person's head, at the back. And you know how they say it, you don't shoot someone in the back because that means they were, you know, defenseless.
Yeah.
And so it was quite sad that the people who were actually killed, innocent people just going about their business or trying to take cover, you know, after taking the business. But it was quite sad. So they're saying that, you know, if you really wanted to calm the protests, live bullets wasn't the answer. And they're saying that that was him showing his true colors. That going forward, this is how to be honest, live bullets is another case.
It is another
tear
case.
gas.
Use tear gas.
And even us were complaining, by the way, because that's still brutal force.
It is.
That is still brutal. You should not be tear gassing people directly. And even journalists, I'm telling you, I saw pictures of journalists running with guns pointed at them.
Speaking of journalists, like that scenario you told me of, you know, this journalist in that particular polling station, you know, live on air.
Yeah. I think even he noticed a mistake after he left, because the clip went viral. So I think he also noticed.
Exactly.
Afterwards.
So it brings me to that particular aspect of, I don't know, as journalists, and it's a thin line, Flavia, it's a very thin line between you giving off the reality on the ground and giving the viewers the real truth. And the other side of balancing, will this truth lead to certain consequences? So we as journalists need to really be cautious when we, you know, are out there, especially on live broadcasts. If it's a pre-recorded thing, you can always come back to the newsroom, have your editor, you know, preview that, and then you decide and sit down and consult. But if it's live coverage, I think we need to be very cautious, because imagine that video went viral. Imagine the consequences of that video going viral, because now it brings down to the issue of now the people who didn't support the ruling party now, I'm sure it actually, you know, is part of what contributed to, you know, escalated riots and violence in Zimbabwe. So journalists need to be very cautious. It is hard, especially on live coverage.
As a journalist, you should tell the truth.
You should tell the truth. You should, and that's why I'm saying it's a thin line.
You should tell the truth.
It's a thin line. But if you think that the consequences will be dire, how about, of course, don't tell a lie, but how about you just find a way of not, maybe either not commenting on that, leaving it until it's verified, or until you consult, maybe, because with live coverages, you can always hand over to another reporter in another region still in the same country.
And so let me keep my truth. Please, you first talk to the people.
And then in between, when the other reporter in the different region is actually on air, then you can just touch base with your editor to just ask for advice. Because at the end of the day, it's about the principles of journalism and the effects it has in the long run.
You know, this is it's not really a thin line. You should be able to tell the truth. But as a journalist, if you, for example, were at a polling station and you saw, because there are two different cases. If, let's say, ballot boxes were being stuffed with pre-ticked ballot papers. First of all, if I'm holding a gazillion of ballot papers, you're not able to see if they're pre-ticked. But maybe you see me stuffing them. You properly see. And then one would argue you should have come to the person and first asked, is that routine? Is that what they normally do? Do you first put papers in? You know, apparently get all the information, because you could probably go and say that I saw them putting papers into the ballot box. And then they can come out and say, it was our way of washing the ballot box. You know, some excuse that would make you look bad. So you tend to ask every party involved and say, this looks like this. What do you say? Then you start to quote people or something like. But see, for him, because I watched a bit of a clip, and first of all, it was in their language, so I only got bits and pieces of what people were able to translate. But innocently, the journalist just mentioned what he was seeing at the polling station. He was saying, people have come to vote, and this polling station is here and here, and registered is this and this, and he was just going on and on and about. So by the time he got the agent to interview the agent, people were already informed. So it's not that he had to tell the truth, and he was telling the truth. Because, for example, here in Uganda, if we're going to the polls, we already have numbers. the Electoral Commission has given us how many people are registered to vote.
Yeah.
Because a village can have 1,000 people, but only 600 are registered to vote. So we don't say because the village has 1,000 people.
1,000 will turn up and
exactly.
vote. Yeah.
You know, only those who are registered. And then also there's this case where people genuinely are told between 1st and 13th of August, we are going to walk through each constituency, bring for you these papers, and please come and check your name, cross-check your name, your picture, your voter's number, cross-check. Nobody shows up. Then they show up on that day and find their name and number maybe are not there. And then they complain. You know, so someone like that will go to a journalist who's on the ground and say, can you believe I'm a registered voter and they've still refused me to vote? And the journalist, without cross-checking, will probably go and say, for example, there was someone here who was a registered voter.
Come and talk to us.
Come and talk to us. I say, what happened?
Yeah.
These people are being
Yeah.
I'm a registered voter. Kakadi kakano. And I'm not there. But they gave you a time frame. But you see, maybe the journalist has not even asked that. Did you come between this day and this day to cross-check your information? And say, no, me, I'm a citizen of Uganda. You see, you've already put the information out. So I think that last time I had a few journalists here who were telling us that, you know, it's important for you to research.
It is.
Take your time, deliver the news. But then news is never delivered late. There's no such thing. Social media makes you feel like news is delivered late, but it's never. If it's right, if it's truthful, if it's the right information, it's never delivered late. So you can take your time, find out, because if you have the number of people who are registered to vote, ask the person, did you cross-check? Let the person say, I did not see them, the Electoral Commission bring these things for us to cross-check. Then you start from there and say, oh, okay. So it was important. Maybe that one was just a one-time case, but you're always supposed to tell the truth. You're always supposed to tell the truth.
There's also that preliminary, and I think this has to be a standard, whereby when it comes to covering such sensitive, you know, national issues like elections, then journalists need to be trained, like refresher courses, just on how to handle news delivery in that electoral space. It's very important, because fine, today we have elections every 5 years. So maybe today, let's for example, we're in Zimbabwe, so we have the elections. Then after 5 years, you're expected to cover again elections. The information you were given 5 years ago, I'm sure after 5 years you have forgotten nits and bits. And also in 5 years, a lot will have changed. The electoral space is quite dynamic and it changes every single year. So it's important for journalists as well. If they're, NGOs that deal in electoral processes, they just need to come and, train journalists on how to handle and deliver such issues.
I think
it's very important
in the
Africa,
electoral process. Journalists, we are like the smallest percentage. And we're not the people you need to worry about.
Flavia, we are, because
we're not the people you need to worry about.
We are the intermediaries between what is actually happening and the viewers, the citizens. We play a major role.
10 years ago, we were the people to worry about. Now we're not the people to worry about.
Are you saying because of social media, Facebook,
let me tell you,
fake news?
Let me tell you, I was here. I was here from we did a midnight to 6 a.m. We did not cut transmission for about a week of the election. The process from the campaign, the last campaigns, to people checking everything, I was here. And you are getting the information, you are writing polling station ABCD, number this. And you even have a live feed of then Electoral Commission boss Abadu Chigundu actually saying 1,000 this and this and this and this, and someone is on the ground saying Balimba, it is 2,000 voters. And people are retweeting the other one and not your information. Why? Because they think Mamulimba. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So we are no longer the go-to.
But
we still are,
yes,
but not. You understand? It's not the same. 10 years ago,
I totally agree with
we were the ones to blame, because whatever we put out is what people went with. Now, let me tell you, people at polling stations, they haven't voted, but they're giving information.
Yeah.
I'm in the line, but I may have already seen someone came in with pockets big. Why are their pockets big? I think they have stuffed ballot. Like, friend, you're causing chaos before you even get to the point where you are voting. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
And I remember they actually said that when we're going to the voting line, they said, don't carry your phone. If I'm not mistaken, they said, don't go with your phones or don't take pictures. They actually really preached that, I think, the day of the presidential elections, and they're saying that people were causing chaos. They're saying, so please, even if you're to go with your phone, be mindful, don't take pictures, don't do so and so. Because you have people trying to take selfies when they're ticking.
Yeah,
you know,
I
like you have
agree
no
with
boundaries.
We are in the era of fake news, and
Yes.
everyone is actually, you know, everyone feels like they're entitled to break the news.
And by the time you come with your information, but like, you see
But
you guys.
But see, the media has, you know, something to guard.
Listen,
Which
we
is
still
credibility.
we have a big
So,
role to play.
What I'm saying, and we truly have that big role to play. What I'm actually saying is, in case there's, especially now, for example, now we're, you know, sampling Zimbabwe. Now,
Nelson Chaminga was to blame, not the media.
It's all right. No. I'm just giving an example
Yes.
on why the media is, it's very important to train the media in any electoral space. It's because, fine, we are in the era of fake news. But if now, after we have the consequences, people die and stuff like that, like what we saw in a neighboring country a few years back, where there was a lot of violence. Now, when it comes to investigations, the media needs to stand at a point whereby they say, okay, fine, we all attribute this particular violence to fake news. You can make your investigations, you can do your research. As the media, we were clean and credible. All the information we were giving off was based on what we knew, the skills we had, plus what we were getting, the figures we were getting directly from the Electoral Commission. I'm not saying that we're not supposed to say the truth, but we need to just get to that point where we are authentic. Because in the era of fake news, if the media doesn't stand out to credibility, then you'll also lose it. It will get to a space whereby people won't even, you know, people will actually lose hope and will feel like the media is never authentic enough. And it will get to a point whereby if we're not serious about these issues, then people will not even stay and watch the bulletins. We always have different bulletins, the 1 p.m. bulletin, the 9 p.m. bulletin, the 7 p.m. bulletin as well. So people will be like, okay, fine, but I got news on social media. Why should I watch? And I think the reason as to why people still sit down in their homes, wherever they are, to just watch the news on TV is because they still have trust that whatever I got on TV, whatever I will get on TV is authentic and verified. Because let me tell you, Flavia, you do the news here at NTV. And half the time, you will confirm this with me, half the time, the stories that you will do at night are stories that develop through the day.
Yes.
It's nothing new. At 9 p.m., it's not new anymore. But if there was fake news on a particular story, then at least someone will be able to watch you delivering that news at 9 p.m. and know that, okay, so that's how the story went. According to NTV, it was this. According to what I saw on social media, it was this other angle. So they will be able to say that, that was fake news, because NTV has said this is how the story went. So it's very important, even in the midst of all these cares of, you know, fake news and stuff like that, for the media to be clean and maintain its authenticity.
Let me tell you, I do. For example, there's the tabloid section of news, and that goes as well to some blogs, who will give their own opinion and not necessarily facts.
Yeah.
So those are there, and by nature of how they operate, that's ideally what they're supposed to do. But I think people are not able to differentiate. And because they're not able to okay, they're too lazy to want to differentiate. Because some of these things are in your faces. You can always tell a fake presidential Twitter handle and a real one. You should be able to tell.
Right.
Don't be in a space where you can't tell. But guess what? We still have issues where there's someone following a Barack Obama with 200 followers and is quoting the Barack Obama with 200 followers.
Yeah.
Because he does not, he imagines 200 is a lot. He can't imagine that maybe Barack Obama, with his, the magnitude of the person he is, could probably be in 20 million. And you understand? So because people are not able to differentiate, the information reaches people. Even if it's at 9 p.m. with Flavia Tumsim. But not enough people out of the pool of the population are going to say, that's true. Let me focus on the 9 p.m. because they'll have better facts than this one. That's why we have fake news. The only reason we have fake news is because majority like the sensationalism. They'd prefer to go with the other one who had a bit of a theory. You understand? Yeah. There's a theory of some conspiracy here. This one seems like it's the one. So you have people who will watch. There's a big population that will watch the news, hear both sides, and still say, "Naima, these ones, they're lying. Because that's just how people are.
Yeah.
That's how the world is going. That's the trend. People prefer sensationalism than they would this way. People will send you an image of a story of 6 months ago, which everyone, okay, supposedly everyone cleared as a lie, but will send it to you 6 months later and say, can you believe it? And then, so I'm telling you, fake news is what we need to be worried about, because I think that was even, for example, fake news might not be the biggest problem in Zimbabwe, but it's the biggest issue in India, for example,
It is.
where people are dying because of fake news.
How can we fight this?
You understand? To a point where WhatsApp is being told to pack up and go.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
They say your business is no longer needed
Do you
in
think
India.
we can ever fight fake news?
I think, I mean, for countries that don't allow those things like in a WhatsApp, they're lucky, because then they're controlling it. As much as the people don't have access to it and are not able to enjoy it, they're also not able, then they're protected from the ills that come with it. Because for India's case, it's worse than the rest of the world, because for them, people are sending each other WhatsApp pictures of, say, Mala, and say, this person has been seen at this place doing this, raping a girl. And nobody investigates. They just circulate your picture.
It goes viral.
It goes viral on WhatsApp, and the minute they see you, killed. Then later they say, oh, but the person that was circulating on WhatsApp yesterday was innocent. But it's late. Do you understand? And so for WhatsApp to come out and say, oh, we'll make sure you can only forward 5 pictures a day and not more than that. That's 5 people dead. That's 5 people already dead.
Yeah.
You understand? So I think the best I would say, which is unfortunate, is for those services not to even exist in that country, which would also not be good. You understand? Because maybe there are people who use WhatsApp for good or Facebook for good in a country, but it's clearly a problem right now. It's a problem right now.
Tell us what you think. How can we fight fake news? How can we fight it? Like effectively fighting fake news.
Ask the people.
Tricky.
We just need to read. It's the people. I'm telling you, it's
Do you
the
think
people.
people don't have a reading culture, Flavia? Will we ever get to that point?
Let me tell you, for
where
example,
we actually get to the hassle of verifying that what Flavia sent to me is actually
let's say
authentic or
I've
not.
opened Twitter right now, and I'm going through people I follow. But let's say that someone I follow retweeted someone's tweet, and let's say I'm looking at Grace Natabalo. New Vision has liked Grace Natabalo's tweet.
All right.
I click it. A 4.7 billion dam in Kole district has been rendered useless because of weeds, blah, 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 blah. So I'm looking at the story. I'm like, okay. I click the person. Me, that's what I would do. I click the profile. Program Associate at the African Center of Media Excellence at John. Okay, it's this one. So
you'll be like, maybe
this
it
is
might
someone
be true.
to believe. Yeah. If I'm going to use this story, what Flavia would do is, okay, if she's a journalist, she must be registered somewhere.
Yeah.
Google page, Wikipedia, or something, or research, Grace Natabalo. Oh, okay. There's records. They know who she is. Oh, that's her picture. See, that's the thing. Go as far as finding the image.
Yeah.
If it's not someone whose face is out there. Oh, okay, journalist. She's done this story. That's her picture. If I can't find your images, must be a story that was run by you. Go on YouTube, find some stories from. Then when I verify, oh, okay, so Grace Natabalo is actually, she's a journalist.
Yeah.
This is her work. I've seen her doing this. This is her stand. I'm able to trust your tweet.
Yeah.
But you see the process it has taken.
It's a long process.
Not everybody will do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Not
and it's also,
everybody.
it's also
And not
very
every
important,
journalist as well will do that.
Yeah. And that's why it's important, especially for
Not every
people who
journalist will
have
do
a
that.
big following like journalists.
To do better.
To do better,
Yes.
especially when you're retweeting, when you're tweeting.
The account says Mala's parody account. And you're still retweeting and saying, this is Mala.
Yeah.
Do you see what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
The person has said, I am not the one.
We need to verify these accounts. We need to, especially them that have a huge following. There's that blue tick, guys. There's that blue tick that tells you this
People
is
are
the real
convinced.
Flavia.
Let me tell you, on Facebook, when because I've been having those issues,
Yeah.
and someone says, but Flavia, can't I just paint that blue tick? I'm like, okay, for you, if you can paint it, enjoy.
That's
Or they
a funny
say,
one.
or they
Painting
ask
it?
you, so what does verified mean? You explain. Hey. Okay, so can you tell Facebook to verify me also? Now they've come from the point that you're trying to make, they've gone elsewhere. But anyway, we're talking about elections, and I was stunned by Mali's elections because they have it worse than Zimbabwe. I'll say that because I think out of 23 candidates, 19 of them have come out to say there's irregularities, whatever results come out of here, we don't stand by them. And that's a big chunk of them. But I remember that before the votes were actually cast, they actually had the cars that were ferrying the ballot boxes and what hit, you know, yes, heading to polling stations, and they were saying we won't even let you get to the polling stations. And they were hit, and then it's a time lag before they get the next material to actually put to the next polling station. And I was thinking, now that's aggressive. That's aggressive, because here we let the cars with the ballot papers at least get to the destination. We let them get there, you know. And I thought by the time already before the votes are cast, people are showing you their colors. I knew that there was going to be issues with these elections. But who cast Africa? Who's that? Is it our forefathers? Something is happening.
I'm also wondering, because something is happening even here at home. I remember when we were going to the polls, like, remember how security was deployed in every single corner of the country.
You need security, though.
You need security, but
if it's for us,
you
not
need security,
us.
but such heavy security, Flavia, what does it tell us about us as the citizens and how the government actually perceives us to be in terms of our values and morals? Because you can imagine, if such heavy security is actually deployed in every single corner of the country, it actually shows us that the government is just not sure whether chaos will erupt or not.
It is. So before government picks us for not knowing our boundaries.
And it happens everywhere. All the African countries, even in East Africa, in Zimbabwe, we've seen it. It's an African thing. So like you're saying, who cast us?
We bind as we are better. Let me ask you, just before we go into a break, someone mentioned, a couple of people actually have been mentioning this to me for some time. Do you believe in dreams, nightmares, well, whatever, those things you get when you're sleeping, whether good or bad? Do you believe in them?
I don't necessarily believe in them, but if they're bad dreams, I pray about them. If they're also good dreams, I also pray about them. So, but I don't put myself in that space whereby
that's if it happens to you. What if the dream is about, say, someone else, and it's a bad dream, for example?
It's a bad dream. I always pray about it, and I just leave it at that. But if I notice, for example, if I dreamt about you and it's a bad dream about you, I'll pray about it. But if the following day, no, at that point I won't tell you. I won't tell you. But after interacting with you, maybe after a few days, and I see what I saw in the dream is actually manifesting, then I'll tell you. Okay. But I'll be cautious in how I deliver that news.
I've never understood why people have bad dreams, supposedly have bad dreams about people, and then tell them. See, me, I've not, thank God, been given that blessing of dreaming about others. I don't know if maybe me, I sleep, and I sleep come out. And until my alarm goes off, dreams. I've not dreamt about myself. I've not dreamt about you. I've not dreamt about food. I've not dreamt about anything. But for those who do, I don't like it when people tell me what they've dreamt about me. First of all, because I think you're lying. Generally, no matter who you are, by the way. And I'm saying this real, no matter who you are, it always feels like you're manifesting what you think of me versus what you dreamt of me. And I've always said, if it's a negative, if it's a nightmare, if it's a bad dream about someone, you don't tell them. And the reason I say you don't tell them, as you said, it's good to pray about it. If that's how you believe it, you pray about it. But it's, when you enter someone's day and tell them what you dreamt about them
immediately,
that was bad, what you've done is shifted their focus and their energy to that negativity. So if you say, hey, Andrew Jamagoda, I dreamt about you. What did you dream about? I dreamt when the president had slapped you. So he might go like, okay, maybe the president is far-reaching. Maybe a friend of his that he knows had slapped him. Now he's going to start avoiding the friend. But maybe it was, you see, you shouldn't have given them the negative energy. And I'm saying this because I know someone who had dreamt of someone's good day, and I told them that day had been ruined by something. And the person said, but why would you say that to me? You know, like, now I'm going to be conscious that something bad is going to happen. So I feel like when people have bad dreams about people, don't tell them. Don't tell them. Because by the way, we're all going to die. So if you dream of someone having an accident, leave them. Am I being terrible? No, seriously.
No, you're not.
The person, you understand?
Yeah,
because
I
now,
get you.
if you tell the person, are you going to have a road trip soon? Yes. I dreamt when you had a car accident. What have you just done to their life now?
I get you.
You see,
but if, for
ruined
example, it's your closest friend, and then maybe that friend dreamt of you but didn't tell you, and then you come and open to them about a scenario, that then they will remember, but I also dreamt about the same thing.
I'll be okay.
Will you, at that point, you will be okay.
I'll be fine.
So it's about the delivery and the time frame. Don't just dream and come and tell Flavia, but I saw this in my dream.
This happening.
Yeah.
Me when you start, I dreamt about. Please. All right, guys, you're watching Morning at NTV. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, it's Reality on the Ground with Andrew Chamagero.
You're watching Morning at NTV.